So guys, today we're going to take a look at the Sagola 4600 Xtreme. Now I've got this in a clear coat setup, which is the 1.3 DVR Clear, and I've also got the DVR Clear 1.3XL setup for it as well. Now for the first coat for this spray gun, I was using settings wise, I've got the pressure at 2 bar, I've got the fluid at 1.5 turns out, and I've got the fan set on full. Now clear coat wise, I am using the liquid glass, and this is their new extra fast that I've been trying out in the shop. Seems to be working really well for me, and especially in this booth, getting really good flash off times and a really nice short bake on it as well. But I'm going to be doing a second review video on the actual liquid glass extra fast, which I'm working on at the moment, and I'll get up very soon for you. So back to the spray gun itself. This is the Scrambler edition, and I have got the Sagola gauge on it as well. I have to say, both the gun and the gauge are extremely very well made. Now the gun itself is the limited edition Scrambler. It's not one of the fanciest limited edition gun designs out there, but it is the actual only limited edition one that I've got in my collection, unfortunately. And I have to say, it does look quite a nice little gun. The colour on it, it's kind of browny bronzy sort of colour, but it has got a nice look to it, and in your hand it's got a very nice feel as well. It's the first time that I've really used a Sagola in a very long time, and I have to say, I did this BMW with it and I found it performed absolutely perfectly. This job itself, we took a couple of nibs out of this and it nailed the BMW finish absolutely perfectly. We literally, I think we did about just a couple of tiny nibs per panel on this car and sent this whole car out gun finish. It really did come out really well. Now the question that I'm going to get asked the most is which clear coat gun do I prefer? Now I prefer a lot of different clear coat guns for a lot of different reasons. My favourite everyday hack that I would recommend to anyone to buy as an everyday clear coat gun, because no matter what clear coat I put through it, it's just effortless to spray through, would be the GTI Pro Light. Now the GTI Pro Light and this Sagola are very similar. I'd say the real difference between the two is this Sagola's a lot faster. It puts the paint down a lot quicker than the Pro Light does, but I don't really find that slows me down or really costs me too much time on the job with the Pro Light versus the Sagola. It is a little bit quicker, but I don't think there's too much in it that you'd pick one over the other for speed. Now the one main difference that personally I found was around the actual fluid tip. There's only 2 air holes in the middle on the actual air cap, rather than the Pro Light's got 4. So this does tend to put it down a tiny bit heavier, a little bit less atomized than say the Pro Light would. But again, at the same time, for something like this BMW, I don't think I could have got a more perfect factory finish straight off the gun than I did with this Sagola. It absolutely nailed the finish on this BMW. And again, going back to probably one of the most common questions that I do get to do clear coat guns is, what's the best gun to get a glassy finish now, or to get the perfect finish? For me, for this BMW, this gun gave me the perfect finish. It wasn't a glass finish, it was a perfect factory finish. And to me, for a spray gun to perform really well, it's not whether you can shoot a layer of glass down with it, it's the ease of use to get that factory finish that you're looking for. Now on the BMW finish, which is quite chunky, this gun was the perfect gun for the job, and it gave me the perfect finish. And overall, I've used this a couple of times since making this video, and I can't say that I can knock this gun whatsoever. It feels very much like the Pro Light in your hand. It has got pretty much the same look as well as the Pro Light. It's got a nice balanced weight to it. It's just generally a nice gun to use. But like I say, if you're going for something that's got, say, like the heavy appeal finish, or if you're doing something like a respray where you want to be putting a lot more paint out a lot faster because you've got a bigger area to cover and you want to keep those wet edges going, then I'd say Pro Light versus the Sagola. The Sagola would probably take the lead for that for me. If you're doing something that you want to get really big and really wet, and you want to get round quite quick, so if you're doing you know, big respray work and stuff like that. Now my favourite clear coat gun for like respray work would be the Sarta 5000 RP, because that's got a huge fan, and even though the 1.2 setup's not quite the 1.2, it's more closer to a 1.4, it pumps the paint out, but at the same time, obviously cost wise, the Sarta costs a lot more than the Sagola, which is one main important part really when we're doing these reviews. It's not just the review on the gun and how well it performs, it's also where it sits in the market. Obviously you've got the Sarta, which is at the higher end of the price range. You've got DeVilbiss and Iwata, which I'm not going to say that are at the lower end of the price range, but they're the mid-range sort of price guns. And then you've got Sagola that sits somewhere relatively in the middle. So when looking at guns and when people ask us what's the best gun, you know, the problem with it is everyone's got a different budget, everyone's got different uses, and I've got more guns now than you know, that I can use in a day, but every one of my guns pretty much has got a different job. My Bell Area, which is probably my favourite gun, would be my wet on wet primer gun, and it'd also be my every single day base coat gun. I've had that now for about 3.5–4 years, absolutely love it to bits, and I wouldn't swap it for any other gun on the market for what I use it for. And believe me, I've tried a lot of different ones. Now if you're more the sort of hobby DIY guy at home, then something like the FLG5 from DeVilbiss would be more in your price range, and will perform greatly for what you'll be doing, you know, at home, or the little odd jobs and the little bits and pieces of spraying that you're trying to learn with. There's no point going from you know, taking a £300 gun over a £90 gun if you're just doing little bits and pieces like that. And that's what it all falls down to, you know, your use for a gun over the cost, the usability, also the transfer efficiency, and everything. You've got to take that all into account when you're looking at buying different spray guns. Now the Sagola for me, like I said, for something like the BMWs and for I'd say large jobs on a car, so anything more than a side, this would probably be the gun that I would pick up from now on. Especially being a new gun in the collection, it's something that, you know, I like to try out different guns, because sometimes when you're using the same gun every day, you know, when you're painting all day every day like we are, then it does get a bit boring using the same gun, as daft as that might sound. But as far as my final decision goes on this, for the money you are getting an extremely good gun. Now in my collection wise of guns that I do sometimes use for clear coat, or that I use on an everyday basis, I've got my W400 Bell Area, I've got the Pro Light in a 1.2 with a 110 air cap, which is I'd say probably my favourite for HS Clear. I've got this, and I've also got the Sarta 5000 RP, and that is probably where I would put these in rank of order. Now the Iwata I would probably put as the one that I go to the least. I'd say the Sagola would probably be my next go-to gun for something that's like this BMW, or for something large. And then I'd say my Pro Light is my everyday clear coat gun. It's the clear coat gun that I can pick up every day and have the confidence without thinking about it that I can smash a coat of clear on and not have to worry about runs or getting anything dry or anything like that. I know I can I can just pick that up and go every day, and I will get an outstanding finish on whatever job I'm doing. And then at the higher end, we've obviously got the Sarta 5000 RP, which is more, I'd say, sort of like my show car painting gun and that sort of thing. It's not one that I pick up as often as the Pro Light, but that's the sort of order that I would rank my top clear coat guns in that I own. That's about it for this video, guys. If you do have any more questions on this gun or anything, or about this job that we've been doing, then do let me know. Drop a comment in the box below, or send us a message through Instagram, or give us a comment on there, and I'll do my best to get back to you and answer you. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon for the liquid glass extra fast review that we'll be putting up in the next day or so.